Hi, it's Tony Parinello, the author of Selling to Veto, the Very Important Top Officer. Thanks for continuing to listen to my best-selling book. If you have any questions about what you're learning, don't hesitate to go to VITOsalestraining.com and join our VITO community. In the meantime, here's your next chapter. Enjoy.
Chapter 5 6 Big Reasons to Contact Veto First. Whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we choose to do anything about it or not, veto always has the veto power over whether our stuff actually gets bought or gets kicked out the door. Veto Rule Number 9. No matter what anyone else in the buying enterprise has to say about some salesperson's offering, veto can, and sometimes will, kill that offering on a moment's notice.
This is a fact of sales life. You're better off accepting it and adapting to it sooner rather than later. If you feel any hesitation about updating your sales process so it reflects this core selling reality, you should consider these 6 indisputable reasons why veto really does have the ultimate veto power over your sale, and why you must contact veto first. By definition, an important initiative at VITO Incorporated only becomes important when VITO buys into it. Every critical goal, plan, and objective at VITO Incorporated has VITO's DNA in it. Others in the organization can feed the suggestion box, but VITO decides what's hot and what's not at any given moment. As we have seen, VITO's mind can change on a dime and may do so without VITO asking anybody anything. If you want to stay in the know about what's really important at any given moment at VITO Incorporated, keep your hand on VITO's pulse and put VITO's private telephone number on speed dial throughout your entire relationship with the company.
Number 2. Constant improvement is veto's responsibility.
In VITO's world, status quo doesn't go. Vetos are measured on the growth of their organization. Flat, horizontal growth lines just don't compute for VITO's stakeholders and shareholders. Therefore, they're on a constant lookout for ideas that no one else has brought to their attention. They have an early adopter mentality. They're eager to take risk and have and do what no one else has or is doing. In other words, they are likely to be the most receptive people in the entire organization to well-designed sales offerings that actually add value to their organization.
A true story for further edification.
Several years ago, I offered my services to the third largest telecommunications company in the world. I had never done business in the telecom industry. I had no proof that my stuff would work for them. But what I did have was a strong suspicion that because of my experience in other industries, I could deliver something of similar or even greater value to this major carrier. In a very short time, I put together a deal that gave them the exclusive rights to me within the telecom industry for 2 years. How did I do it? By calling VITO first. I was able to articulate my suspected value in a way that proved to VITO that I had something that would give that huge telecom company the edge. I didn't have any experience within that industry. What I did have was a well-founded suspicion and the willingness to call VITO directly. Pretty soon, VITO had a hunch that my hunch could pay off for his company. Both of our hunches paid off.
Number 3. Veto owns all budgets. When your current contact says, "We've got to get the budget approved," who do you think that person goes to for approval? Answer: Veto.
Depending upon how low on the company totem pole the person is that you're dealing with, the budget request may have several levels to travel, but the stream always flows in the same direction. Notice this: every other person in the organization is told how much they can spend and tries to spend less than they have so they look like heroes in Vito's eyes. That's why you're always being asked by these underlings to lower your price. Veto, on the other hand, has no budget. Or, if you prefer, Veto can say at any given moment, let there be budget for X. And suddenly, there's a budget. If you want to eliminate the price objection from your life, and who doesn't, I can show you exactly how. Contact Veto first. Then, during your very first interaction with Veto, state your price clearly and confidently. I like to pull out my standard agreement and let Veto look it over on the spot. If there's any haggling to be done, you and Veto will do it here, and you'll get it over with before you invest massive amounts of time and energy in the deal. More often than you might expect, you'll name your price and Vito will nod and ask, what else is there to talk about? Once Vito decides to work with you, Vito will allocate sufficient funds to the appropriate decision maker.
Number 4. Veto knows who's who. Veto not only knows everyone of importance on the org chart, but also most likely handpicked or hired everyone on that chart. Veto typically has less than 10 direct reports. These individuals are Veto's movers and shakers, the people who get done whatever Veto wants done. Investing large amounts of your time with anyone else in the enterprise amounts to sales malpractice.
At Vito Incorporated, there are certain critical business criteria that all partners and suppliers must meet or exceed if they want to exchange their goods for Vito's cold, hard cash. Can you guess who sets those criteria? I thought you could. Some of these criteria are hard measurables expressed in numbers and percentages and take the form of revenue increases, reliability ratings, performance history, projected savings, and so on. Some of these criteria are soft values articulated with descriptive words and or phrases such as brand reputation, compliance, internal morale, goodwill, prestige among Vito's peers, and so on. If you and your company can't meet Vito's business criteria, you will be dismissed. If you don't know what the criteria are, you can't meet and exceed them.
Number 6. Veto gets paid to make decisions.
This one's a no-brainer. If you're a salesperson, your job is to generate positive decisions from qualified people who have the authority to say yes to mutually beneficial business propositions. Let me repeat that. You're a salesperson. Your job is to generate positive decisions from qualified people who have the authority to say yes to mutually beneficial business propositions. Vito's job is to make decisions that benefit Vito Incorporated. This is a match made in heaven. Some others in the enterprise avoid making decisions, but Vito knows that making a decision is the only sure way to get the ball rolling. Vitos love to get the ball rolling and keep it rolling. So, as the classic film Ghostbusters asked, who you gonna call? Someone who hates making decisions, like Seymour, or someone who makes decisions for a living, like Vito? What's driving those decisions? The 9 values that drive Vito's decisions are as follows. Pay real close attention to these.
Number 1. Competency. Vito's decision-making actions will typically be based upon experience, reason, and moral principles. There's an emotional component too, but Vito is too smart a player not to look at the upsides and downsides. Number 2. Forward-looking vision. Vitos set clear goals and envision the future. They habitually pick priorities that support their vision. Number 3, confidence. Vitos display confidence in all that they do, especially when it comes to making a decision. Number 4, intelligence. Vitos quickly get access to the background information they need. They are well informed and well connected, and as a result, they tend to make good decisions fast. Number 5, fair-mindedness. Vitos are open-minded and fair. Contrary to popular belief, they are generally sensitive to the feelings, values, interests, and well-being of others. Number 6, broad-mindedness. Vitos instinctively seek out diversity, and in doing so, open up their world of possibilities. Number 7, honesty. Vitos are straight shooters. They will always tell you where you stand. Number 8, imagination. Vitos know how to make timely and appropriate changes in their thinking, plans, and methods. They are always on the lookout for new and better ideas and solutions to the problems. Number 9, courage. Vitos don't spook easily, and they have the perseverance to accomplish a goal, regardless of the seemingly insurmountable obstacles they may face. Specifically, they are not frightened of making the wrong decision. When this happens, Vitos simply make another decision and move on. Close up on the decision maker.
Effective veto selling does not rule out the involvement of other players at Veto Incorporated. To the contrary, knowing how to approach and interact with all other players is critical to a successful veto launch. In this chapter, we will begin the ongoing career-long mission of developing an in-depth understanding of the traits, likes, dislikes, and potential business relationship pitfalls you will encounter when dealing with 3 people. All 3 work at Veto Incorporated. All 3 are likely to show up at some point in your sales process. These 3 people are:
Number 1, the decision maker. This is Vito's direct report. Number 2, Seymour, the influencer. This is a technical topic expert who typically does not report directly to Vito, but who can derail your sale if you're not careful. Number 3, the recommender. Number 3, the recommender. This is an end user or potential end user of your stuff who typically does not report directly to Vito. Let's look now at the members of the most important group on that list, the decision makers, who are personally accountable to Vito for overachievement on Vito's vision.
I've yet to meet a Veto who didn't handpick his or her own direct reports. That is, someone who answers personally to Veto, week in and week out. This elite group ranges from Vito's personal assistants to the individuals who run the divisions and lines of business that drive Veto Incorporated. These hand-picked, highly accountable folks are loyal not just to Veto, but to Vito's vision. They make up an inner circle at Veto Incorporated. Always remember, that inner circle includes Vito's private assistant. These people take it as their job description to make happen whatever Vito wants to happen, sooner rather than later. For the most part, this elite group of direct reports can be gathered into the category I call decision makers. They are compensated, quite handsomely I might add, for the over-accomplishment of Vito's vision and mission. They want to raise the bar, and that's why Veto likes having them around. Decision makers typically have titles like line of business executive, director, vice president, or CXO. That X, by the way, could stand for just about anything, like financial, technology, information, operations, marketing, sales, performance, learning, and so on. But don't get too distracted by job titles. Occasionally, a personal assistant who's been handpicked by VITO and who puts in years of loyal service rises to the level of decision maker in all but title. Good relationships with decision makers are critical to your ability to make the sale at VITO Incorporated and to your overall success within the enterprise. For the most part, decision makers are upwardly mobile, highly visible types. They're politically astute and they love to broadcast positive news about themselves and their area of responsibility. They're good self promoters, and as a general rule, they are fearless. They know the operational terrain at VITO Incorporated well, and they know how to navigate the political currents. Any company has its challenges. Whenever a big storm hits VITO Incorporated, you'll usually find that VITO and the decision makers are the first ones who have landed on their feet.
Decision makers live to add massive value by fulfilling the organizational vision and get credit and rewards for doing so. These are sought-after players, and it's not uncommon for them to move from one company to another in search of greater challenges and greater rewards. Once you earn their trust, they will take you with them wherever they go. This is one huge reason why we must follow the decision maker's example. Just as the decision maker over-fulfills on every promise made to VITO, we must over-fulfill on every promise we make to a decision maker. A true story for further edification.
Bill was the VP of sales at Yada Yada Company when I first met him. That was 12 years ago. When I got an email from him recently, a big smile came across my face. My relationship with Bill and his team at Yada Yada had been a very successful one. So successful, in fact, that he wanted my help in his new capacity as Senior Vice President at Whatchamacallit Unlimited. Bill's email was music to my ears. Tony, I want you to help my new Salesforce do what you did at Yada Yada. Talk about a one-call close. This was a one-email close. When Bill and I connected by phone, I asked him, if you and I could redo what we accomplished at Yada Yada, what, if anything, would you do differently? Keep that one in your pocket, and when a decision maker that you've worked with in the past calls you, lay that one on them. Decision makers are basically yes people. That doesn't mean they're incapable of thinking for themselves, but it does mean that when they are given a set of goals, plans, and objectives from VITO, they must fulfill. Sure, they can give VITO supportive opinions and information that illustrate options and alternate ways to over-accomplish the task. What they can't do, though, is push back with responses like, "This is impossible. Where do you expect me to get the resources to do this?" Or, "This is more of the same nonsense as last year. When will we ever learn?" Other people in the organization may be able to get away with that kind of talk, but not decision makers. Instead, you will hear decision makers say things like, "This looks great. My team can do it. Let's get started." Picture a meeting between VITO and Jackie, who is the Chief of Operations at VITO Incorporated. Here's what VITO says. "Jackie, I want you to find the fastest way to get our production increased by 15% between now and the end of this quarter. When you report back to me tomorrow, give me all the risks and costs involved with that, and don't forget to take into consideration the union labor restrictions." If Jackie were then to say, "Mr. VITO, that target and time frame are completely unrealistic. This kind of thing has been tried before. I'm afraid it simply can't be done." Jackie would be one click closer to surfing job sites. In effect, she would be saying, "VITO, please take me out of your inner circle." Now you see what I mean when I say that Vito's decision makers are yes people. They've got to say yes. They get paid to say yes to veto and to the principle of getting the job done.
Veto rule number 10. Vito's decision makers get paid to say yes.
You can relate to this, can't you? Would you look your sales manager in the eye and say, "No, I can't prospect for new business," or "No, I'm not going to update my sales forecast," or "No, I can't set up that meeting"? Just like you, the decision maker must salute and say yes. Here's the beautiful part. Whenever that happens, the decision maker goes into acquisition mode, as in, how in the world do I acquire an asset, resource, or ally that will over accomplish this seemingly impossible goal for veto? Of course, we want the decision maker to do that acquiring from us.
6 rules of engagement for the decision makers Vito sends you to.
To make that acquiring happen as quickly and profitably as possible for both sides, you must get Vito to point you towards a specific decision maker. You'll learn all about how to do that in future chapters. Once you've won that golden referral, you must follow these 6 rules of engagement for dealing with decision makers.
Number 1. Celebrate, respect, listen to, and act upon the opinions, perceptions, or advice of any decision maker Vito refers you to. Remember, these people are empowered by Vito with significant influence and authority within the organization. Number 2. Focus on tactical issues, not strategic initiatives whenever you ask decision maker questions. Number 3. Let the decision maker do most of the talking, and while he or she is talking, listen carefully and take notes. Decision makers tend to build alliances with people who have good listening skills. Number 4. Focus on exchanges that involve reactions, feelings, and responses. Find out how the decision maker feels about the job he or she has been given by Vito. Number 5. Make brief, credible, and sincere compliments. Stature and acknowledgement are extremely important to these folks. Number 6. Keep your conversations uncluttered and free of too many details. Stay at the 30,000-foot level and focus on thumbnail sketches of the advantages of what your product, service, and solutions could possibly do for their specific line of business and/or area of responsibility. Stay away from the minutia, technobabble, and industry jargon. If you ask the decision maker a question about something he or she doesn't know or care about, or even worse, start to lecture the decision maker about such a topic, you will be wasting your precious referral from Vito by issuing a direct challenge to the decision maker's power, control, and authority, and that's not cool. If you ever make this mistake, you will immediately be shunted to Seymour, who is the decision maker's direct report. You'll learn more on how to deal with Seymour in the next chapter.
Here's an important note on advantages. When I say that your discussions with the decision maker should focus on advantages, here's what I mean. An advantage is how you tailor, tweak, modify, customize, and implement whatever you sell to make it relevant and fit perfectly with your prospects or customers' needs. An advantage is not what your product is or how it does whatever it's been designed to do. It is, rather, what you will do to ensure that your prospect or customer gets the jump on A, the competition, B, Veto Incorporated's current way of doing whatever it's doing, or C, both A and B.